go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Masters Fantasy Show, brought to you by MastersFantasyFootballLeagues.com. As always, I'm joined by the Masters crew. What's up, guys? How you doing today?
Doing great.
What's up, Kamish?
Not much. We're going to be jumping into some Dynasty trades, some current values and trades that are happening right now in some of our Dynasty Leagues. Wanted to pass those along to you. With that said, let's jump into the first one here. We got Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, Tyler Boyd, and a 1 for Cam Newton, James Robinson, and Stephon Diggs. Your guys' thoughts?
Man, lot to take in here. I think I'd go with the Diggs side, though, just by hair. I think, to me, Diggs is the best player in the deal. I know a lot of people love DeAndre Swift, and rightfully so, but I'm not quite as high on Swift. And then, even though we're not super high on James Robinson, I do think James Robinson will have another decent year, unless, they invest in a running back real highly tomorrow or Friday. So I go the Diggs side by a hair, but that future first and DeAndre Swift and Boyd and Hurts, there's a lot of dynasty value on the other side as well.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's really close. I think if Hurts had a little more of a solidified position in Philly, I really just think they're unsure of him, and they've made that pretty clear. So I think with that in mind, I agree with everything Al said. I'll go with the Diggs side by a hair as well.
Real quick, just crazy to think, we're doing this show day before the draft on Saturday. All of a sudden Jacksonville drafts a running back, James Robinson tanks, or what if Philly gets a quarterback? Now all of a sudden everybody who's dealing Jalen Hurts right now is making out big time. So
yeah, that's the fun of trading right before the draft too. Just real quick, I'm actually going to go with the other side, and I'm just going to toss out there why I do think I would take Hurts over Newton, obviously. Yeah. I'm thinking Boyd and James Robinson. That's really close on who you'd rather have there. And then so give me DeAndre Swift and the 1 for Diggs. I actually like that trade.
Yeah, I like it breaking it down.
And speaking of great receivers, just want to toss it out there. A little love to my guy here, standing on the star. One of the most underrated guys ever. I'm a big T.O. fan. So, all right, next trade popping up on your screen here. We got Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, Mark Andrews, for Nyheim Hines, Henry Ruggs, Robert Tonyan, and the 1.2 pick. I'll pass this on to you guys.
Man, the 1.2 is really enticing. And I still have faith in Henry Ruggs. I don't know that he'll ever get the targets needed to be like a legit stud in fantasy. And Tonyan obviously looked really good last year. But that being said, Andrews seems to be a sure thing at tight end for at least the foreseeable future. And then Zeke is Zeke. To get Pollard as well is huge. So I'm going to go with that side by a hair, even though 1.2 is super valuable. I feel like the rest of the pieces on that other side are a little suspect.
Right, I agree, and especially if you're giving up Zeke, bringing in the 1.2, you're probably looking at Najee Harris or ETN there. And I just think between the proven commodity that Zeke is, as well as getting his handcuff, and then Mark Andrews being the superior tight end in the deal, I just think that side's definitely the safer side and probably better value just overall.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. And then, interestingly enough, Zeke's not that much older than Najee Harris.
Yeah.
For like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But you guys sold me on that, his age. So, something to watch out for. And Zeke, man, he's bouncing back this year, man. I say it again, if you go back to last year, Zeke would have been the 1.1 in every draft. Like, if he was in the rookie draft.
Right, yeah.
I'm just a guy that's fallen, and I don't understand why. But all right, next trade popping up here. We got McCole Hardman, the 3.2 and a first-round pick for Austin Eckler. I actually know, Doc, you're a big fan of Eckler. So I guess my question was, is Eckler worth a 1 in Hardman? Would you make that trade?
I feel like I like the Hardman in one side a little bit better. Just because I expect Mecole to kind of increase his role for the Chiefs. And obviously, a role on that offense means a lot more than most teams. So as much as I do like Eckler and think, he's going to be a pretty consistent guy in PPR formats especially, the Mecole and first is exciting to me. It's enticing to me as well. And I'm going to go with that one, just by a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with the Doc. The Chargers did give Eckler a big deal just a couple years ago now. But last year, with Melvin Gordon gone, he really did kind of struggle to stay healthy and handle that lead back role. So I think they're a team who could, draft a running back a little earlier than we'd think, a bigger back, somebody to take a lot of the first and second down work and kind of get Eckler back into his, third down satellite back role, which he excels at, and in PPR still has a ton of value, but don't know if I'd give up a first for that.
Yeah, you actually read my mind on that. I was thinking Eckler could be like in a James Robinson type situation. Interesting note about that Chiefs offense. I was watching SportsCenter yesterday, and they had this little segment like the teams who had the most like draft picks and then Hall of Famers went afterwards. And the leading team was the Cincinnati Bengals. And one of the picks was John Ross, and then the next pick was Patrick Mahomes. It's just like, ouch.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's
next
tough.
trade popping up here. We got another Austin Eckler, Odell Beckham in the 2.6 for Derrick Henry, Jeffrey Wilson, and a couple third-round picks. Pass this on to you guys.
I mean, I can see in the comments that apparently they have, I would assume Mostert, because they're getting Wilson as the San Fran cuff, is what the comments say. So I like that aspect of it for whoever's making that trade. And getting Derrick Henry, that's a tough one. I'm going to say, assuming that they do have Mostert, I guess I'll go with Henry and Jeffrey Wilson. That's a really tough one, though, because I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty with a couple of these players, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't feel great about the Jeffrey Wilson in terms of the trade, but I do think Derrick Henry might be worth it and still go the Henry side. But I don't know if Odell gets back to the Odell we know.
Yeah, then that.
Yeah, but the odds of that happen, the true Odell we know.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see that Odell again.
Yeah,
honestly.
Sadly.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. I will say about Derrick Henry, though. I mean, the clock's ticking on this guy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be long before he's just an old running back. It's not going to be long.
Yeah.
All right, next trade popping up here. We got George Kittle for Irv Smith in the 1.4 and the 1.12. Up to you guys.
Do you smell that? I smell Kyle Pitts at the 1.4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to go with the Irv Smith side. I feel good enough about this draft that I feel like you can get a really good player at 1.4, and you can get a pretty good player at 1.12. And Irv Smith, who we've talked about a little bit, I think he's poised for a breakout season now that it's kind of his show at the tight end position. So as much as I love Kittle, he's had issues staying healthy. So I'll go with Irv Smith, who's got a lot of potential this year and a couple of picks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just want to ask you. So, if you give up George Kittle, bring in the 1.4, if Pitts is there at 4, do you take Pitts at 4? Or do you feel so confident in Irv Smith that you'd rather get one of these receivers or running backs at 4?
I guess it depends which receiver is there at 1.4.
Yeah. All right.
Like, depending on a guy sliding there, But, yeah, I mean, you could always take Pitts, too. But you could also wait till, 1.12 and maybe snag, a guy like Freiermuth.
That's true, yeah.
If you want to, or even trade back from that pick and get more picks.
Yeah, I actually seen a mock the other day with Freiermuth going to Jacksonville, which I really like.
I like that a lot, yeah.
I mean, if that happens, how far does he slide up the draft?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I feel like
late
he's not going to be talked about as much because there's so much hype around Pitts right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you haven't seen our Spotlight series, Freiermuth he's got first round talent as well. I mean, don't let all the hype around Pitts kind of hide that fact. He is that good as well. So I think that would be a great pick. I personally would have no issue taking him at 1.12 if he ended up in Jacksonville. I just think the talent's there. I like him a lot as a player, and that would be a pretty good situation too.
Yeah, and that's baby Gronk, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, one of many, yeah. But he's.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. The last trade of this episode going to be Tyler Boyd and Tyler Higbee for a 2.6, a first and a third for Chris Godwin, and Kenny Golladay. Your guys' thoughts?
I feel pretty strongly that I like the Godwin-Golladay side in this deal. Obviously, the future first is big, and then Boyd and Higbee are nice too, but Godwin and Golladay, I think, to me, are worth a lot more.
Yeah, I would agree. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying about Godwin's value just a year ago. I still think that value holds true despite him being injured last year. And even though I told people to sell Kenny Golladay because I don't trust Danny Dimes, I still like him as a player. And on the off chance Danny Dimes stinks this year, he could be getting an upgraded quarterback pretty quickly. So I like that side as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm looking at it too. Like even if you sell Golladay, maybe for a 1 after a couple good games.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost got Godwin for Boyd in the second round pick there.
Yeah.
And if you guys watched a couple episodes ago, Chris Godwin a year ago today, I think it was the 5th or 6th pick overall in a fresh dynasty draft. second wide receiver off the board. A lot of stuff changed in a year. That's going to wrap up this edition of the Dynasty Spotlight Series. Thanks so much for watching. If you could hit the like and subscribe button, come be a part of the Masters family. Also, if you're looking for a place to play fantasy football, Dynasty football, over 600 Dynasty Leagues, never folded a single one. Email drafts for redraft leagues are firing up. Live drafts will be starting next month. Pretty much all I got. Any last words, guys?
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.